hurdles. Grant Holloway almost breaking a world record in a prelim. Arian Knighton breaking the world junior record set by Usain Bolt and finishing ahead of Noah Lyles in the process. Sydney McLaughlin just chilling, running 53 seconds. A women's 10K this morning in very, very hot temperatures. American record in the field events. We got to get started because we only have an hour here, so we need to get started. First of all, good evening, Serenity. Good evening, Gordon.
Good evening.
Thanks for having me in my own home, Kevin. You ring the doorbell when you come over now. I'm like, dude, you've been here like 9 straight days in a row. You don't need to ring the doorbell anymore. Just walk in.
I'm just bummed. Serenity moved to Delaware. It's too bad. We could have had like a second, like you could have been in the – Gordon has a lot of rooms in this house, so we could have set it up so it looked like we were in 3 different places, but we all were in the same spot. Thanks, everybody who's watching.
Meet in the middle.
Exactly. We're all in the middle here. Thanks, everybody watching on YouTube. If you got questions, comments, which I'm sure you do, put them in the chat right now. Again, this one's going to be hard to talk about. There's just so much to get to and so fast. We'll start first, though, with that women's 200 because she gave us hints that she was going to run fast because in the heats, she goes 21.98. Then the semis, she goes 21.94. So you knew, okay, this is going to be something good because anytime your 200-meter time starts with a 21 on the women's side of things, you're in the elite of the elite. But then to go drop a 21.6, second only to FloJo, and did it while putting her arms raised as she crossed the line, just defied belief. I think the camera caught her saying holy or oh my or what the something. I don't want to put words in her mouth, but I was doing a little amateur lip reading there, and she was as shocked as we were. And you look at the times all the way down. You know, Gordon, you mentioned this. Tamara Clark runs 21.98 and does not make the team. Goes sub 22 and does not make the team. Prandini PR'd 3 rounds in a row, but still doesn't manage to get near Thomas by the end. Anavia Battle from Ohio State runs 21.95. Felix ran a great race, 22.11. Probably going into the meet, you probably thought 22.11 would get you on the team. Serenity, I'll start with you. Make it make sense. What happened here?
I can't make it make sense. Gabby has made it so that I cannot make it make sense at this point. She has PR every single round, and so did Jenna Prandini. This was a fast field. I can say that this was probably the fastest. And for everyone else in the field, 4 girls went 21. And a 21 did not make it. Like, what do you even do with that information there? Do you bring them on the 4x1? Like, do you just say, no, I'm sorry, you can't come to Tokyo, but you ran a 21? Like, what do you do here? But honestly, like you said, Gabby was running really, really well through the rounds. We knew that she was going to drop something ridiculous. It was just a matter of if it was going to be here or if it was going to be in Tokyo. But she was definitely going to get a spot on that team regardless.
My immediate reaction was, after the first 2 rounds for Gabby, when she's run back-to-back 22s, I was on my run today thinking
21s.
about like, hey, I think she can potentially medal. Like she's in conversation to go up against Shawnee Miller-Weibo. But now Shawnee Miller-Weibo is not the favorite in my mind. When you consistently throw down back-to-back 21-second 200s, ending it with a 21.6, Shawnee's not doing that. And to think that Shawnee Miller-Weibo won't be the favorite in the 200, it's just mind-boggling because of the way she's been dominating that event for the past few years. But, I mean, Gabby Thomas, 21.6 is no joke. Shawnee's only run 22.0 this year. I'm sure she'll run a little faster as we get later on in the season into the Diamond Leagues. But, man, Gabby went from, oh, yeah, maybe she could get second or third and make an Olympic team, be like a good story. She's doing the whole academics in Harvard and doing all these different things. But now she went from that to like a good, cool story to like, no, you're going to win the Olympics. And it's just wild.
Okay, so I'm looking – this reminded me of that 2015 World Championships where Daphne Shippers ran 21.63. And I know Elaine Thompson ran 21.66 in that race too because they both went up the all-time list. But I didn't know really where it went from there. And I'm like, how many women did go under 22 in that race? There's only one other Veronica Campbell-Brown in third ran 21:97. So this was deeper than that race. And that was a historic performance there for Shippers and Thompson. When you have, like you said, Serenity, 4 under 22 here. So it's even quicker. I want to get into the 4x1 stuff later because we had you give your 4x1 picks before Serenity. I want to see if you made any, additions to it. But I want to save that for a bit later. What else stood out to you, Serenity?
What else stood out to me? You just compared that heat to a historic heat with Veronica Campbell-Brown, and the fact that now this heat, 2 out of the final are college athletes says a lot. Mm-hmm. Tamara Clark, I really want to highlight her, and Anavia Battle, they just broke the standard, honestly. A college athlete just made it to the Olympics in an individual event. I'm not sure, but she may have been the first one so far on the women's side to make it for an individual, not on a relay pool.
That's a good stat,
yeah,
Gordon. You got fact check on that?
I can do quick fact check. On the track, I think that might be a yes. On the track, yeah, because I know Tara Davis made it.
Oh, because we're not in the long jump. The thing hasn't run yet. So
this was a historic final today, honestly. So because Tara Davis just made it, and then Anavia Battle just made it. So those are the only 2 collegiate athletes so far.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think back to just a couple of years ago in this event and the times it took to win, and a little bit of symmetry here, right? Felix's PB from 2012 in this event, 21:69. Thomas betters it, and in the same race as Allison Felix, where Felix finished 5th. It was kind of clear even after the first couple rounds, Felix's better event is the quarter. I think that's just fact. Now, a lot of this depends, like I said before, who does what in the other parts of the world. The opportunities are still there for her to thrive. I know she wanted to make it in this event because this is her favorite event there. But to get 5th in this field, I think it's going to hold up because this is going to be a race we're talking about for decades to come. And it's just the all-time list is going to be updated, and it's going to be FloJo, Gabby Thomas. That's going to be the all-time list. And it's just weird because 2 hours ago, if you said that was going to happen, I would have said, you're crazy, even by the standards of the Olympic trials. And I don't think even Gabby Thomas would have thought, they've already been updated. Here we go. Put that on the screen there. Let that sink in, folks. That's the all-time list.
Wow.
Shout out to Gabby.
She is the fastest 200-meter runner alive right now.
Yeah. I mean, just incredible.
She can say that. Gabby Thomas can say that.
Yeah. So
I'll say this to either you, Kevin, or Serenity. Who has a better shot at touching FloJo's record? Gabby Thomas in the 200 or Sha'Carri Richardson in the 100?
So basically 10:49 versus 21:34. Serenity. What do you think?
That's difficult.
Because it's not the question we ever thought would be asked before.
I know, right? So I do feel like it's Sha'Carri because I feel like she hasn't even reached her full potential yet. Mm-hmm. And for Gabby, although this is a great race for her, she had Jenna Prandini on her inside, pushing her hard, coming off of the curve. That seemed like, that's the extent of it. Mm-hmm. And for Sha'Carri, it's kind of like none of the other girls have touched in the USA has touched 10.7 so far. So she's about to get pushed by, Shelly Ann and a lot of other Jamaican girls who just dropped some heat recently too, yesterday. Mm-hmm. So yeah. I just feel like that record could be coming down by Sha'Carri. But I do think that Gabby's going to get really close to FloJo's 21.3.
You think so? She celebrates early. So Gordon pointed that out as soon as it happened. Like, well, how much faster could she have gone if she didn't celebrate? These are 2 marks that we didn't think would get touched. I mean, in our lifetime, basically heading in to the year, and now we're seeing it. And the depth is there too, because you mentioned the Jamaican trials, Serenity. We've seen fast times all throughout the world. Blessing Okubari ran a really fast wind-aided mark. Of course, we've seen what Shelly and Fraser Price has done legal. Fraser Price ran another 10:71 tonight. It's getting to the point where 10.7, we're kind of looking at it the same way when Bolt ran a 9.6 or 9.7. Like a 9.6 high or 9.7, like, okay, whatever. But no, it's rare. It's just that people are running so fast now that it's sort of thrown out of whack our perception of these times. I'm not ready to go like favorite yet with all this stuff because it's so meat by meat. And obviously it was a fast night at the track. I think we can say that across the board. 100-degree temps, whatever it ended up being, I guess are really good for sprinting. That was my one takeaway from this. So I want to see more of the Diamond League season unfurl here. I think Miller Weibo is going to be tough to beat, and Deanna Asher-Smith's solid in the 200 as well. But man, the U.S. is sending a legit 200 team.
But I would argue that Gabby is the favorite because she showed consistency.
Yeah.
She came off of doing 3 rounds of the 100, right, earlier the trials, still got 5th there. So it's not like she was super fresh. And then she ran 3 straight 21-second 200s. That to me shows you that this wasn't a flash in the pan, that like she's going to be able to keep that 21-second fitness through 3 rounds. And if you're doing that, I don't see her being beat right now. Now, if she would have ran like 22-1, a 22-1 in the semis, and then had this one off, like then I'll be like, yeah, this seems like just like a miracle race. But the fact you look at the previous 200 she ran, it shows that this wasn't a miracle. It was like leading to this. Yeah. And Jenna Prandini as well. Like I could see US going 1-2 and Shawnee Miller Weibo getting 3rd. I know I'm homering right now and getting a little too much in the moment. I see this Jenna Prandini photo and I'm just getting in the vibes. I'm like, yeah, Jenna's gonna get 2nd. So, but I'm just saying, Jenna and Gabby both showed consistency through 3 separate 200s, which is what you need to do well at the Olympics.
Well, and both Jenna Prandini has trained with Serenity Douglas before, so I think that could give her an edge when it comes time for Tokyo. Did you teach her all that stuff?
I wish. No, I really feel like it's more so Kenny Harrison. Her, Kenny, and Tiana, they all train together, and they are just unstoppable at practice. So it's going to be deep. I think USA is going to take up a lot of the field in the final of the final in Tokyo.
Yeah. Okay.
Kevin, is Austin, Texas becoming the hub for fastest women on the planet? You got Gabby here. You got Kenny here. You got Jenna here. You got Delila's in Texas, right?
Delila is in Texas. She's in Dallas. Yeah, she's in Dallas.
So
no, she's in Dallas.
Maybe it's not technically, but Austin. I mean, 3 of the fastest women on the planet are in our backyard.
Well, you didn't mention Tiana Daniels either. Isn't Tiana still out here?
Right, you didn't mention Tiana Daniels.
Exactly.
It's Texas. I can honestly say it's Texas. We have this argument all the time on Twitter: Texas versus Florida, Texas versus Georgia. It's Texas, and Texas is gonna win the cake every time.
Okay, let's have the 4x1 conversation briefly because we have a lot of other events to get to, but it feels good to slot it in right here. Serenity. This was Gordon's and my team unofficially after we watched it. Javian Oliver lead off. I think she's really good at the blocks. She finished runner-up in the 100. On the backstretch, we had Prandini second. Then we had Thomas on the curve because of how well she ran the curve, handing to Shikari on the anchor. So Tiana's not in there. So I know you're going to say that's a terrible team because you want Tiana in there. But put that aside for a second. That's a pretty good team.
It's a great team. It's a record-breaking team. That's the thing about this year going into Tokyo. I really, no matter what you do, it's going to be a record-breaking team. No matter who you put on it, it's going to be ridiculous.
How about this?
Well,
Tiana
say that,
/ Javian. Whoever wins in the 100 in Tokyo gets that leadoff spot. Because Tiana can start, right, Serenity?
Tiana's start is the best out of all of them, out of Jenna and Kenny. So, but I like that that's your prediction. Keep your prediction just as that. I need everybody's prediction to leave Tiana Daniels out of it because that's exactly what it usually is going into championships. And what does she do every time?
Okay, well, no, I'm open to the fact that you're gonna have like Oliver or Daniels, whoever finishes higher, whoever's got the hot hand in Tokyo, you're gonna want to put on there. My question to you though, is there any way you leave off Thomas and Prandini based on what they did in the 200, because you got a lot of, you got other people you could use from the relay pool, obviously, although Prandini and Thomas were 4 and 5 in the 100, so it would make sense to use them in the 4x1.
I think because Prandini and Thomas both made a bigger impact in the 200 than Javian and Tiana did in the 100, statistically. I think if they went, 10-7, then that would be a different story. But because they just hit out of the 22s, that's a bigger statement technically. So I think it could, I have no idea. I think it's going to be great no matter which way it goes. But like I said, I think that Tiana's going to shock everybody. And I think that she will end up getting put on the relay because she's a strong relay runner. And she was on the one at Worlds, so she's experienced too. So that always gets the cake too. So
if she gets to the final, they'll put her on for sure.
I do want to say this though, as much as we can hype our US 4x1, they're going to get smoked by Jamaica. It's
I don't know if they're going to get smoked anymore. No, I don't know. No,
I think they are. I think they're going to get smoked.
Tonight changed things. But you got a 21-6 runner out there, and you got a 21-8 runner with a flying start. I think it's going to be way closer than we thought going into.
Yeah, but they're not. It's not a 4x2. It's a 4x1. It's a 4x1.
I cannot wait for you to get dragged in the comments because Jamaica is not going to blow anybody out. Not this year, at least.
The Jamaican 4x1, I think, will break the world record. Do you see the way? Look at that final. The U.S. women's 100-meter final was not that. It was Sha'Carri and then everyone else, if we're being honest. Where that Jamaica 100-meter final was like legitimately, like, I think Oliver and Tiana Daniels would have finished 6th and 7th in that race.
Yeah.
That's just my opinion. Because Shelly Ann's doing Shelly Ann things. I'm not a fan of Jamaica by any means. I'm just saying, like, we gotta respect
it's Team Jamaica at Shelly Ann Fraser Price. But there's 4 people on a 4x1 at the end of the day. I just think that we have more solid runners.
So you got Thompson Hurrah, obviously, has been great. Shrika Jackson's been great. But I think what changes the calculus a bit here is what Thomas and Prandini have proven. Like they were good in the 100 and they were fabulous in the 200, right? They were out of this world in the 200, which bodes well for a 4x1 leg where you're getting a flying start or
look at the current top 100. Look at the current. Put that up.
Yeah,
there are 4 Jamaicans in the top 5.
I think they're the favorite. I'm not saying they're not the favorite. I'm just saying it got a lot closer based on tonight because you put a 21-6 person in there. I know it's a 4x1 and not a 4x2, but you got Gabby Thomas on that curve. I don't think anybody's running it better right now. If there is, let me know.
Like you said, it's a flying start. You give Jenna Prandini and Gabby Thomas a flying start. If a 150 was an event, a real event, then we already know how that would go. So just honestly, I just think it's going to be tough.
Yeah. America will could break the American record, but I think world record will be Jamaica.
Oh my god!
How about that? That's the way we'll.
Come on, Kevin. Moving on.
I checked in on the comments, Serenity. Actually, this is the one time Gordon is getting more agreement on this. So
there's
gosh. a lot of Jamaican love in the chat. A lot of Jamaican love. It's closer than I thought it was going to be. Yesterday, I thought it was going to be a walkover. Now, on the men's side of things, don't get me started on that. But we won't touch on that. 400 hurdles. Rai Benjamin, 46.83. 46.83. Number 2 all-time 0.05 from Kevin Young's world record, the world record that he and Carson Warholm and Abdurrahman Samba have been chasing now for several years, and we almost saw it fall tonight in Eugene. Serenity, as you were watching this race, did you think he was that close, or when you were watching him go through the rounds, he's kind of just playing with his food because he's so much better than everybody, did you think that this would be the time when he would PR?
Rai Benjamin on any normal day, throughout the years, that would not have surprised me. But him through these rounds, it absolutely surprised me. He was just kind of cruising, like everything is cool, everything is fine. Even through the point, like in prelims, he was like, well, I didn't even know how it felt to go that slow. So I just thought maybe he was just going to try to make it. He wasn't going to do anything spectacular, but he definitely shocked me. Obviously, I knew he was going to make it to Tokyo. I knew it was going to be something stupid fast, but a 46, when are we going to have the relay discussion for the 4x4 again?
Oh,
because
no. That one's a mess too. The difference is whoever the U.S. puts on, it's gonna be a wrap basically. Gordon, we almost saw history here. We've been waiting for this world record for a while now to go down. I'm kind of with Serenity, seeing the rounds, just okay, get through. He talked about being patient. Like his coach has kept him and Michael Norman separate this year, not wanting to overcook it, just stay healthy going into Tokyo. I hope this leads to something greater in Tokyo, because what we saw in 2019, all the awesome lead up, but we didn't get the epic time at the end. We had a great race, but we had, by their standards, kind of a ho-hum time. Do you think, is there any question in your mind, Gordon, that this record is gone by the end of the summer?
I mean, you guys declared it would be gone last summer and the summer before that and the summer before that. So
this is correct. This is actually true.
I'm not going to declare that. I think, he could also keep on winning and just not happen to break the world record, right? So many things have to go right for a world record to be broken. It's not just being fit and being world record. It's not about having a world record ability. It's about having the ability and the atmosphere and the situation, which isn't always guaranteed. But I think it's just kind of wild. Obviously, Rai is not really about competing against the other U.S. guys because he's just so much better. He's chasing history as opposed to chasing the current U.S. athletes. But has there ever been a time when we've had three athletes in their prime who you could argue are in the top 5 all time? Like, because typically, if you look at a top 5 all time list, there's not a lot of overlapping, right? Maybe there was 2 guys or 2 women that are in the top 5, but has there ever been a time when there's 3 people in an all-time top 5 who are all running in their simultaneous prime? I can't say that word. Simultaneous prime. Not
simultaneous prime. There you go. Yeah.
Simultaneous prime.
That's a good question. That's part of the reason why the events. I mean, you got 2 right now on the women's side. I guess if Shamir Little joins the party, then you could have that. And
we have 3.
Well, she's got to put a 50 too low, right, to get in that
she needs
conversation.
To get a PR tomorrow. Yeah, she needs PR tomorrow.
It's possible. Yeah, I think because right now I'm looking at the all-time list here. Little's 16th all-time, 52.75. But
okay,
you're talking about to get into the Warholm, Samba, Benjamin range.
Okay.
Gordon.
Okay.
Yeah. So I guess a top 5 all-time mark, she'd have to run under 52.4, which I think it's possible. 52.5, it's possible. I mean, she looked pretty good today, but listen.
I think it's definitely possible. I think that Shamir Little has been holding back.
Yeah. She goes 53.7 today. Yeah, she beat Muhammad by a 10th. But the story of that was McLaughlin's 53.03. I think she's going to break the world record tomorrow, except for the fact that it's supposed to be 113 degrees. So I think the only thing that can stop Sydney McLaughlin tomorrow is the sun. As long as the sun just chills a little bit and allows them to actually move their bodies while on the track, I think she's going to get the world record. That 53.03, I mean, she was jogging off the last hurdle. Serenity, you've run a lot of 400-meter rounds before. Not 400-meter hurdle rounds, but 400-meter rounds before. When someone goes that easy, what does that tell you about their potential for the final?
I think their potential was great, but why are we talking about Sydney McLaughlin as if she has not always looked easy coming over the last hurdle? As if she has not always been praised for looking easy, for running the 400, the 200, and the 400 hurdles. So that's not something that is just out of the ordinary for her. So I think it's really hard it's hard for me in my eyes to see something spectacular from Sydney because everything she does is spectacular. She always looks smooth. She's always looking calm. She's always looking relaxed. I never even see her catch lactic acid in the 400. And her, all of her training partners coming from Kentucky, they said that that's just how she trains. That's just the type of person that she is. But it's hard to say what she'll do tomorrow. Like I said, just keep your eyes on Shamir Little. She has been looking like the best shape of her life, and she's just back for vengeance, and vengeance is dangerous. Ask Kenny Harrison. So I think that we're going to see something crazy out of her, honestly.
I think it's...
Especially after going 49 in the Open 4.
Yeah, so I think you got... Gordon and I basically predicted the 8 that would make it to the final based on the first round. And then you can draw a clear line today with those top 3, McLaughlin, Little, and Muhammad in some order. I think, Anna Cockrell is there as an outside shot. I think you got... what was her name? Haley, who ran in the outside lane against Sydney in both other prelims. She drew lane 8 for the final. But the reason why I asked you about Sydney again, Serenity, is because she keeps lowering the standard for her easy prelims. Because this was her 6th fastest time of her life, and she did it looking effortless. So that's why. It's just like she runs like an easy, like, I don't know, maybe at Kentucky or in high school, she runs like an easy 55, and then it becomes like an easy 54.5, and then we just keep dropping it down lower and lower. And it was hard to look at that and assume anything other than she's going to be able to run a bunch faster tomorrow. And if she goes a bunch faster, then that world record is gone. But as Gordon said, world records are hard. That's why they're world records. Right? That's some good analysis.
That's true.
That's some great analysis.
No, it is. And yeah, it is.
Yeah. Well, and Otto Bolden pointed it out on the broadcast. It's like you could see the effort that Heat 1 put out, aka Sydney, versus Little and Muhammad. And maybe part of that's because Little and Muhammad were there and they were close to each other. But it looked drastically different. But tomorrow's a new day, so we shall see. Let's stick with the hurdles. Gordon would not allow me to talk about Grant Holloway yesterday, leading to huge fight. Leading to a huge fight between the two of us. He goes out and almost breaks the world record in the semi. Again,
by
something
accident.
I did not have. Yeah. What'd you think of the prelims, Serenity?
I think that it was amazing. The semis? The semis was amazing. And you saw Coach Holloway basically saying, like, calm down, Grant, like, calm down. So I knew that he was not going to break the record in the final. He was basically just like, I'm just going to tease you guys, and I'm just going to get you guys excited for Tokyo because it's not going to happen here. And he's like, okay, let me just show you guys what I can do, what I can always do. And let me just relax and back off a little bit. But Grant does exactly what he needs to do every single time. He never shocks me. He works really hard. His attitude is great. And he has a great team pushing behind him too, Devin Allen and Daniel Roberts. So this is going to be exciting. And he's going to have some pressure on him at the Olympics with Omar McLeod. Hopefully they don't get thrown in the same heat coming through the prelims and the semis, but they might. So we might see it getting the world record getting taken down then too.
So it's interesting. If he had just run 12.96 and 12.96, say he just did back-to-back 12.96s, those would have been PRs because coming into this, he had only broken 13 once back at NCAA's in Austin, right? He runs the 12.98 to edge Roberts. It's the all-time race. But he had never gone under 13 after that. He didn't need to run under 13 to win the world title. But if he had just done 96, we'd have been like, all right, Grant Holloway, clear. He's a favorite going in. He's in a great spot to win another gold. But I don't think the world record would have been in the conversation. But because he dropped this huge bomb in the semis of 12.81, he's going to get asked constantly now, between now and then. It's not going to be about gold as much as it is about world record. Or it's going to be equal, and he's going to want to talk about just gold, but it's going to be world record, just because, as Serenity said, he accidentally did it in the semis. Just a funny little turn in the story here,
yeah.
Holloway, Gordon.
Yeah, you could see even after that prelim, when he went to his coach, Mike Holloway, you could tell by the body language of that Mike was like trying to calm him down and being like, you've done nothing. All you did was make the final, like to not like get excited in the moment of like potentially breaking the world record, because that could all be for naught if you're not focused for a final. Because this meet for him wasn't about becoming a U.S. champion. It was about getting through the process to get to Tokyo to try to win an Olympic medal or Olympic gold. And the world record is a distraction in a way. And I agree with you. I think now he's always going to be asked about it. And he's going to be like, I don't go to the Olympics to try to break a world record. I go to the Olympics to try to win gold. And if a world record happens, it happens. Like, especially in a sprint race, like, he needs to think about getting over every hurdle clean as possible, not thinking like, oh, crap, you don't want to be thinking halfway through a race, oh, I'm only running 12.9. I'm not going to get the world record, because then all of a sudden you're going to be running 13.0 and then you're losing to McLeod. So,
I mean, I think that because of that mentality, when I interviewed Grant earlier in the year, he told me that he wants to be just like Kenny Harrison. And he tells me that whenever I'm like throwing his accolades at him, he's like, well, that just collects along the way. What I really want is an Olympic gold. What I want is the Olympic gold. All I want to do is win. And keeping that same mentality, forgetting about the time, forgetting about, who the competition is, and just keeping your focus on winning will get you a record every time, will get you a gold every time, any other accolade that you need along the way. So I think that you could see it in his face in the semifinal. He had so much adrenaline, like, pumping. That's why I always feel like he's kind of holding back. Mike Holloway didn't even crack a smile. And neither does Coach Flo when Kenny goes really, really fast either. Because it's like, you know what you need to do. We're getting through the rounds. You can break the world record. I'm going to be happy for you. But at the end of the day, you said that you want the Olympic gold, so that's what we're going to get. So I think that he will more than likely get it in Tokyo. He would definitely get it in Tokyo.
It would have been interesting to see it fall tonight. And even if he did it in that semi, that would have been wild to just drop down from 12.98 to 12.79. Because I've thought he's going to get it for a couple of years now. He's going to get it. It's just a matter of when. And some of the world records, there's that ramp up to it. Like there's like Kenny did, right? Just knocking, running really consistently. Obviously, she had the jump down. But then there's other ones where it's like a huge jump, like, right? Someone's hitting consistent but not near the world record, and then they make that big jump up. It's weird. Athletes don't really like to be asked about world records. Gordon, has that been your impression throughout your media career here? It's like cool the first time, and then afterwards,
they don't like calling things. Yeah. They don't like calling things world record attempts, because then there's winning becomes a disappointment, right? Because if you don't break the world record yet you won, it doesn't count in their eyes for some weird reason, right? So,
well, and people latch on to records, so especially mainstream outlets who don't cover track 24/7, it's what they want to talk about. It's the hook to the story. So it's just constant. It's like why Bolt was getting asked if he was going to break 19 seconds when it was very clear to everybody that he was not going to break 19 seconds. I'm looking at Kenny's. So Kenny went 12:24 in end of May 2016, and then 2 months later she goes 12:20. So she had a little bit. There was a hint there, and then on April 8th she goes 12:36. So she went 12:36, big jump down to 12:24, but then the 12:20. So she gave a little bit of an indication of where she was going. I think if Grant did it tonight, it would have been whoa. It said what? So. And I felt like by the end, we were all out of breath with all the other fast times. If he had broken the world record, I wouldn't have even been able to come on this podcast. It would have been the Serenity and Gordon show, and I would have fallen asleep on Gordon's floor. So, I'm thankful. I'm thankful for him.
I could go on and on about Grant Holloway.
Oh, we could too. And especially because Gordon wouldn't let me talk about him yesterday. So this is good that you're allowing me to talk about him today, Gordon. So we already talked about women's 400-meter hurdles. We can talk about this men's 200-meter prelim, because Arian Knighton one-upped himself from the day before. 17-year-old ran 19.88, broke Usain Bolt's world junior record. Which, did that get mentioned, Gordon, when we were watching Serenity? Did you guys hear them talk about Bolt's world? I guess because it's American broadcast, they don't know what. Yeah, world junior records, I guess, don't carry as much weight as high school records. But yeah, Bolt was 19.93, and Knighton goes 19.88, beats Lyles in the process, runs him down in the process. Okay, I'm going to ask you, Serenity, to lean on your experience, not just as a sprinter, but also as an amateur psychologist and manager of effort here. What do you think Lyles was trying to get out of that race? Do you think he wanted to win that heat? Do you think he's troubled or concerned at all about Knighton running that fast?
Like I said, after Noah did not make the team in the 100 meters, he has just been fueled this whole time to just keep getting better and keep getting better. We haven't seen any ridiculous times out of him this whole year. I think that his story is kind of similar to Dalilah Muhammad's. So I think he's just happy to be here. Honestly, he had a big smile when he crossed the line and he saw the guy's time. So I don't know. I just really feel like he once again is just happy to be competing. That was a really good time from him this year. I'm pretty sure it was the season's best. And now he's just kind of like, okay, mental note. And that's what we're working with. Okay. And I think that he's about to go into vet mode, and it's shocking to say that Noah Lyles is going into vet mode because he's still so young. But now since somebody else is putting that pressure on him, it's like, okay, now we're just getting through the rounds. It's a matter of who's playing smart at this point. I think that that's exactly how he's going to play it in Tokyo.
Gordon, do you think Lyles is in danger? And by proxy, am I in danger since I literally bet my house on Noah Lyles winning gold? I'm starting to get concerned. There's a 17-year-old out there.
The more I think about it, I think a reason why you've been coming over to my house every day for the past week is because you've slowly realized you might not have a house. And you're kind of getting yourself comfortable with becoming my new roommate.
I'm sorry, Noah.
And Noah's not going to win this 200 final. He's not. That's the official projection, the Gordon Mack official projection. Noah Lyles is not going to be the U.S. champion in 2021. Now, Noah Lyles, I could see him recovering well and finding a way to get back to his 19.5 shape in a month and a half and be a 19.6, 19.7 guy in Tokyo. But right now, he's not that. Right now, he's kind of just getting by, and we're kind of not noticing it because it's all prelims. It's like, first or second doesn't matter. But I think I don't know if it's Knighton could fall apart because of the pressure, but I could see a Ben Derek beating him, and I can see Ben Derek beating him. That's what
I was going to ask.
I just don't think he's going to win.
So you're
picking Ben Derek.
Okay, which is not a bad pick because Ben Derek almost beat him earlier in the season. Yeah. I think we got two things happening. here. I mean, Lyles has run 19.5, and this was a fast night at the track. Now, I don't know how much effort he was putting in. None of us really know. That's why I was leaning on Serenity's expert, track sprinter eye there of rounds. But he's clearly, he hasn't been ripping fast times this year like he has in the past. So if we're saying he's not fully Lyles yet, and then you throw in the fact that you have this kid who's running out of his mind and running 1988, and then you have a solid guy right there in Ben Derek who's run 1988 as well too. I think that's the cause for concern. There's two things happening. It's not just Lyles is off his game. If Lyles off his game, and there's people there to take advantage of the fact that he's off his game. But
he does have a month. And to think that Noah Lyles is off his game and still.
We're talking about tomorrow, though.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Gordon's projection is about tomorrow, right? You're not predicting the Olympics, are you, Gordon?
No, I'm predicting tomorrow. He's not going to win tomorrow.
Good. Okay.
Let me call my real estate agent then. Hold up.
Yeah, you're good. You can, You still have a month to kind of check out the property. But, we'll see how we feel end of July if he runs a Diamond League or two, and it's still close. Because he was killing people, man. He was dominating in 2019. He's just not doing it.
He was. But who did he have to put pressure on him, really? Maybe somebody has to jog my memory, but who did Noah have when he was running that 19.5?
No.
Exactly. So I just feel like
that's why I bet my house on him. This is why I got in this problem, Serenity. You're bringing up bad memories of why I went down this road.
No, I think that your house is going to be perfectly fine. I think I'm starting to notice a trend here whenever I join you guys. I am always the devil's advocate over here because I don't know. I know these people and I know Noah Lyles, and I would feel so silly before today if somebody told me to doubt Noah Lyles. It doesn't even make any sense to me, and it still doesn't.
Fair.
The field looks great. So it's going to be exciting, but I definitely think it's going to go Kenny and Lyles. And I think the third spot is kind of up for grabs. That's my little wild card in there.
Okay. The only way Knighton doesn't make it is just inexperience because he's clearly fast enough to do it. My pick going in was Laird, but Laird's going to be out in 9, and he was not a factor in the prelim or in the semi. Like he advanced, obviously, but he was 20.22. So he was well back of Knighton. Now you could be saying he's just running to qualify, but
Right.
I don't know, like Serenity.
It didn't look like it was a running to qualify type of race for Terrence Laird.
Okay, explain that to me and to the audience. What do you mean by that? Because you can explain away anything in a semi saying, "Oh, I'm just trying to get through," right? But it's like if the margin of error is that small, you're running all out, right?
Pretty much.
These Olympic trials.
It didn't look like he was just. But then again, Terrence Laird doesn't necessarily have the type of form that just looks like he's just running to qualify. So I don't know. Just throughout the round today, he looked like exactly how any other college athlete looked at this at the trials this year. Basically, like he just came from NCs. But running to qualify basically is meaning looking up at the board, the way Sydney McLaughlin was looking, the way Rye was looking, Trayvon Burmell was looking. You look relaxed, you look comfortable within yourself to know that you are just trying to get through the rounds. So I'm not really sure. You guys haven't mentioned Fred Curley's PR yet, though.
Okay.
You know what's going to happen?
Fred, hold on.
Really, the greatest thing that would happen at the Olympic trials. We've seen world records. We've seen almost world records. Have we seen a world record? Yeah, we've seen a world record. Yeah, the shot put. Almost world records. We've seen American records. We've seen people get knocked out. We see people get knocked in. But the ultimate icing on the cake would be Fred Curley winning the 200 tomorrow. Like, that would be the ultimate thing. He runs like 19.7, and everyone's like, what the fuck? And it's just like, Fred Curley, your 200-meter champion. He did post a chess move. Maybe he knows something we don't know. Maybe he's purposely he's all about a man of telling a story and kind of make it dramatic. He's going to run these 20.2s to make us think that he can't do the 200, and then he's just saving.
He didn't do anything that we didn't know, though. He got
lane 2. He got lane 2 for the final. That's tough.
For the final, that's perfect. That's perfect for a 100 runner. It's perfect.
So you think
when the last time we talked, we said, okay, wait, Vinny Kirk. But okay, so we did Fred's calculations. We said 43 with his 100-meter time, the 9.8. So he just PR'd. That's a pretty big PR too. It's hard to PR in the 200. It's really hard to drop time in the 200. So the fact that he just went out and ran a 20.08 out of lane 9. Lane 9 sucks. And he did really, really well. So the fact that he's going to be in lane 2 behind everybody, and like I said, if he just pushes out on the curve, and then the 400 speed will carry him around, Fred is going to do what he needs to do.
Okay. I think you were right last time when you talked about being good in the 1 and being good in the 4 is not a determinant for the 2, because the curve is just a whole different animal. And when you're trying to run that pace, because he's clearly okay. If he qualifies, I will be shocked. I mean, I'll just say that right now. He will have checkmated me. Well, wouldn't you be shocked? I mean, he ran.
Oh yeah,
I wouldn't be shocked.
He does not, like, in the 100. He looked like he had been running his whole career. It was amazing. The 200, he just doesn't have that level of comfort, and I think it's because of what Serenity said. You just need reps at that race. It's a tricky sprint to master. So, and he's coming on real strong. Like, once he gets up into his running and his 400-meter strength can carry him, he moves on people, and that's why he got through to the final. But with Lyles and Knighton and Bednarik there, it's gonna be too much. I think it's gonna be those 3. I know I picked Laird on the way in. I said I wasn't gonna change, but my God, Aaron Knighton, 1988, and ran straight through the tunnel too. Pulled the old Bo Jackson, just kept running. I liked it. It was impressive.
He did just keep running.
It's incredible. All right, so Gordon, technically, if you go back and listen to the tape, I bet my house on Lyles in Tokyo. So if you say he's losing tomorrow, I'm not that worried. Like, he's just got to get top 3 and move on.
I mean, here's the thing, though. Like, what if Lyles has a bad day and Knighton runs incredibly, Bednarik is there, Laird runs well, and all of a sudden, no, Lyles is even on the Olympic team? Like, it could happen. I mean, I don't think it will, but there is.
I don't think it will.
There is a timeline out there somewhere in this universe where that happens. Maybe it's not here, but maybe it's some galaxy far away. Just saying.
Yeah.
It could happen. Anyway.
I'm going those three. I'm going Knight and...
I think those 3, and then I really think that Curly's going to be 4.
I mean, Isaiah Young looked good. I could see that. But Laird, if you're talking about guys just getting tired after round after round after round from a college season, it's going to be tough to summon something there. I don't think Curly will get top 4. I'll put him in that back group there. But yeah, I want to see what Knighton has left now, and I want to see Lyles is getting pushed. So we shall see. We shall see. What else, Gordon? Give us some other highlights.
We'll talk a little bit about people who made some Olympic teams in some of the field events. Women's hammer throw, Deanna Price broke the national record through 80 meters again on her 5th throw. Brooke Anderson and Gwen Berry round out your top 3. A lot of familiar names with Anderson, Berry, and Price all making the team. No big surprise there. Women's javelin throw, Maggie Malone got the win, meet record, but I think Kara Winger once again making yet another Olympic team. She's made so many world teams. I think we talked about it on the podcast during the mega preview. I'm not sure what it is, but it is insane how many times she has represented Team USA in this event. The longevity of Kara Winger is very impressive. 3rd place probably won't go to won't go to Tokyo because she doesn't have the standard or good enough world ranking. That's Avion Allgood. Women's pole vault. I think it's the big surprise is Jen Sur didn't make it. She finished 5th. She actually had she's had the same vault as Sandy Morris, who finished 3rd. They both vaulted 15 feet 1 inch, but Sandy Morris had less misses than Jen Sur. So 1 less miss. So that happened. And then I'm doing a great job with this field update. The women's and men's race walk went down. No one qualified because U.S. isn't known for the race walk. We're not China. They're really good at the race walk. What else? Oh, women's long jump.
Yeah.
Tara Davis made the team. She got 2nd. Brittany Reese, though, got the win. They all had their best jump in the 5th round. Quenisha Burks got 3rd. Everyone made the team. I update on the site everyone who's going to the team based on world ranking or not. You can check it out on the site on who's going to the team. But last but not least, we should talk about the first race of the day, which happened at 10 a.m. West Coast time. Women's 10K, Emily Sisson just had probably one of the most dominating distance races I've seen in a long time, especially in the heat. She easily wins this from the gun. She took the lead, I think, at 2K. So from 2K to 10K, so the final 8K, she was in the front and never let go of the lead, just pulled away with a dominating performance, makes the Olympic team. Carissa Schweizer and Alicia Monson finish 2nd and 3rd. Kevin, what are your thoughts on that women's 10K?
I thought Sisson had a great shot. She's just a great all-around runner, and she had 3 opportunities to make an Olympic team: marathon, 5,000, 10,000. Things didn't go her way in the marathon. She decided to scratch the 5,000, win all in the 10K. I think these conditions helped her. I think the way she was able to squeeze this field down and just hammer away at the front played to her strengths. It's a little interesting that when she didn't make the Olympic team in the marathon, it was a horrible weather day in Atlanta. We're very windy, and the conditions in general were just tough because the course was so hard she had to drop out. And then you have another day with tough conditions with the 10K, and she's able to prevail. And I mean, look at that margin of victory there, 13 seconds over a solid field there. So this played to Emily Sisson's strengths, and she took full advantage of it. She said, her teammate Molly Huddle, who couldn't compete because of injury, it was a Molly Huddle-esque performance for her. Schweizer, not surprised that she got through after her 5K performance and kicked really hard to get past Monson. And credit to Monson, just a couple years out of college, has been running well, but she was in that other group of, hey, they've run fast times, but this is a big stage. Can she do it? And she pulled it out. She was under a lot of duress after the race, or at the tail end of that race, went to a hospital afterwards, but she's an Olympian. So congrats to those 3. getting to Tokyo in really tough conditions, running a 10K in mid 80s temps. And we're going to see it again on Sunday with that men's 5.
Yeah, and also it's a lot of repeat runners in the top group from the women's 5K to the women's 10K. Finishing second was Schweizer, fourth was Cranny, fifth was Schneider. They're all on the 5K team. We're not sure if Krisha Schweizer is 100% going to do the double, so there is a chance she could scratch one. And if she does, that could lead to either potentially Abby Cooper going and representing USA in the 5K, or a crazy situation would be Schweizer, Cranny, and Schneider all scratch a 10K spot, and Sarah Hall, who finished sixth, would go to the Olympics. I don't know if that Sarah Hall situation would ever happen, but it's kind of interesting to see a Sarah Hall maybe go or Abby Cooper.
Mm-hmm. Put questions in the chat if you got them, because we got only a few minutes left. Serenity, there's only one day left in the meet. We got 4 running event finals tomorrow, men's 15, women's 8, men's 200 that we've talked about, and the women's 400 hurdles, which you touched on as well. What are you most looking forward to on the final day?
The men's 200 meters. That's what I'm most looking forward to. I'm really ready to see what plays out.
I'm a little worried about that race, not going to lie. It's the only one where I have, real emotional investment in it. Usually I don't try to get that roped in because it's out of my control and I'm trying to be objective, but a little nervous about that one. Gordon, how about you?
I'm excited for, all the distance finals for different reasons. 800 to see how Thing Mo does.
How about the men's 5K?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, the Thing Mo in the 800 will be interesting. The 1500, the whole can Cole Hawker make the team without the standard. We know that's going to be an incredible final. We'll go fast, we'll go slow. And the men's 5K, will the Bowerman guys repeat what they did in 10K? And hey, I also did another calculation of world ranking, and I did one for Nico Young. If Nico Young were to get third in this race, he needs to only run 13:23, and he would go to the Olympics because he could get in on world ranking. So if he won, he would only have to run 13:29. So the 5K, I think the guys who don't have it, I'm not sure if they're going to force it to be a 13:13 race to get the standard. It's a lot harder to do that than it is to run a 3:35. So that's going to be an interesting situation of how will the 5K play out to be fast, medium, slow. And I think right now the chalk answer is Paul Chalimo and the 2 Bowerman guys.
Yeah.
But I do think we could have, a crazy situation where Cooper Tier makes it. Maybe Hassan Mead comes out from the dead and he makes the team. Maybe another random college kid makes it, like a Connor Mance or Nico Young or whatever. And then we also could have, Garrett Heath go up, lead from the gun, take it out hard, try to run the standard. That's what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping for a Garrett Heath wire to wire win, and he runs like 13:10. I want that to happen in the 5K. I want Fred Curley to win the 200. The 1500, I want who do I want to win in the 1500? Will be the ultimate.
You're just doing a lot here. We got to get to some other stuff. Listen, you talked about how fast. No, hold on. Just let me just stop you for a second. You talked about the 1500 going fast. Okay, you talked about the 1500 going fast. I looked up the weather, right? And we've been looking at the weather forecast all week, but weather forecasts can change. But now we are less than 24 hours away. It's at the hottest time of the day tomorrow. I looked it up, 4:40 p.m. It's going to be 112 degrees. 112 degrees for the men's 1500.
Why didn't Oregon have this weather when I was there? When the NCs was there, I ran in the rain.
Yeah. So Khalil asks in the chat, what do you expect from the men's 1500? Tactical or just straight up 332? I think even if they wanted to try to run 332, like if it's not a tactical race, it's still going to be tough to go that fast physically because it is so hot. So I think it is going to be a tactical race. Here's one for you, Serenity. Holloway in the 4x1? Question mark.
No.
I know.
They're not going to throw Grant Holloway in the 4x1.
They should. He could do it.
Okay. Women's 4x4. Women's 4x4. I'm guessing predictions after 400 hurdles. I'm guessing they're saying who's going to be on the team. So I think it's probably the same 4 that I mentioned before, right?
I think it'll be the same too. I just don't think that they're gonna throw a thing on it. I just probably
They
Sydney
won't put a thing
will
on
be
it?
thrown out of the 400 runners. I don't think they are.
She's
I think
the best 400-meter runner in the world right now.
ooh, you're just
Don't
there's a
at
lot
me.
of Shawnee. There's a lot
Is
of
there-
overlooking
is there
of
better-
Shawnee Miller-Weibo on this podcast. I just want to say
I don't know.
our
Find me
friends in
another
the
woman out
Bahamas
there
that-
who's run 49 seconds like multiple times in 2021.
Well, Shawnee
can't.
Miller-Weibo's run 49 seconds. She's actually
To
run
be the
faster.
best in the
multiple times.
world, you have to win worlds.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Okay.
Do it at the
So-
meet.
So I think if Sydney separates herself from the other 2 women in that 4-meter hurdle race, I think we could see a scenario where it's just she's the only hurdler in that 4x4, but she's going to be in the 4x4. I think that's guaranteed. It's just a question of if the other 2, how strong a case the other 2 have. And then I think a thing will be in the mix. But then, I mean, remember, we forget the 400 because it was a few days ago now, but Cornera Hayes ran 49.7. So it's going to be tough to
I didn't
leave her
forget.
out. You didn't
Gordon
forget.
forgot.
Okay.
I didn't forget at all.
I'm saying, I think Mo's better.
What happened to Drew Hunter? Yes, he got injured, so he is not running in this meet. What event do you think Shawnee? I'm reading all the questions. I want to read all the questions. We got like 2 minutes. What event do you think Shawnee Miller will do now after Gabby? I don't know. It's a shame that 400 isn't in one part of the meet and then 200 is in the other. They overlap a little bit, makes it pretty difficult. I don't think she's going to be moved from her event. I think whatever she had planned on doing, she's going to stick with. And I always thought she'd go back to the 4, especially if Nasser doesn't run. And then now if you have people dropping 21.6s, that makes even more sense. But all I know is whatever people say they're going to run, you can never trust people when they say they're going to run this or that. Like we heard a couple months ago, Felix is going to run just the 200, not the 400. And look where that landed. I think she goes to
the 4 so she can beat Allison Felix again like she did in 2016.
I think the 4, I mean, if any of those 100 women double in the 2 from Jamaica, that's going to be tough. Asher Smith's going to be tough in the 2, and now you have Thomas to deal with and Prandini. So there's a lot more people that could beat you in the 2 versus the 4. I think it's a much smaller pool of people if I'm Shawnee Miller-Weibo. But I think she's going to stick with whatever she's done because I think she thinks if she's at her best, she can beat everybody in the world. And why not?
She's also blowing through her trials. Pretty easy.
Mixed 4x4 predictions. Anybody have mixed 4x4 predictions? Who's going to be on the team?
I think whoever they wrongfully leave off of the 4x4, and I say wrongfully as in like out of the 400 relay pool, like just a straight 400 meters, if they get replaced by a thing or any 400 hurdlers, then I think that they will end up getting put on the mixed relay. So whoever gets wronged, and I can already guess who it was going to be.
Here's the problem though. The mixed gender relay is in the beginning. Like the final is on day 2. So they have to figure out who they're wronging early on.
I think it's evident early on. I mean, the way Waterland wasn't even talked to after the final says it all.
I think they're going to use their depth and they're going to put people on the 4x4 who like are in the pool and just leave their options open for people to use later. So meaning if you got 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, I think there's a good chance you're going to get used in that relay for both the men and the women.
Agreed.
Because like you don't know if you're top 3, you don't know if you're going to run 1 round in the open or if you're going to be there for 3. You don't know if you're going to be used in the 4x4, the main 4x4 or not. So I think if you're a relay coach and your job is to maximize the amount of gold medals and you're thinking we're the US, we can win this with our 7th and 8th best or whatever. Yeah. Whatever designation you want to give it. I think you do that. And that's what they did in 2019, if I'm remembering. And they switched to prelims and finals. They ran different people too, so you could get 8 people gold medals. Just get a bunch of people a gold medal. That's what they should be doing. Matthew says, did Kevin abandon his family and newborn to live with Gordon? No, I did not. I haven't lost my house yet because Lyles hasn't lost in Tokyo, so we're still good. Someone mentioned Juvon Harrison. Yeah, that's gonna be a fun story to watch tomorrow. Then people are mad that Serenity left a thing Mo off the 4x4 relay. Sorry, Serenity. They're mad at you again.
I could care less.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, are you saying you're just saying events are going to unfold that keep her off the 4x4?
Yeah. So I don't. You're
not
that's what I
saying
think
she
is going to
deserve
happen.
to be on the. Yeah, you're not saying she doesn't
No,
deserve
she
it.
absolutely. She's the potential Bowerman winner. Like, I think that she's going to make it in the 800, and then I think that she's going to have to go through all the rounds of the 800. I don't see her being knocked out of the 800 at all. And that being said, the legs are not going to be fresh, and she is new to this, so she's going to get her. She's probably going to get top in the 800, and she said it in the interview. She doesn't even like the 400. Mm-hmm. So that's why I just feel like I don't think they're going to put her on it. She's going to be running too much. She's going to be tired.
I'm looking at the schedule here. The women for Olympics. I'm seeing when the women's 800 is relative to the. Is it in the first half or the second half of the? Oh, so it's in the first half. So she'd have. It's on day 5, the final. So she'd have, if she just ran the final of the 4x4, she'd have 6, 7, and 8 off. The question is, do you still put her in if she runs well in the 800 but not out of this world? Do you still
I do put her in. Yeah, I do put her in.
All right.
So
now Serenity's putting
49. Yeah, she runs 49. Cornera runs 49. Waterland runs 49. Like, Sydney McLaughlin 49. Shimmer Little is also 49. So it's like, I think that she would get put in. And then she just split 48-8.
Listen, I'm not saying she should run. She should run. I'm just saying that by the time it gets down to it, there's going to be a lot of other results that are going to influence. Like, coming into this weekend, who thought it's going to be somewhat obvious that Gabby Thomas should be on the 4x1? Things change, is my point.
All I know is we can debate back and forth who should be here, there, everywhere. All I know is they're going to make sure that Allison Felix is on both the 4x4 and the mixed 4x4 so they can inflate the most decorated medals all-time stat for her.
That's why I said somebody is going to be wronged. I don't know. Allison Felix absolutely. Somebody needs to put up Michael Johnson's tweet about that. What's been going on with the media lately? Like you said, they didn't even mention
You're a part of the media now. Serenity. You're a part. You're literally doing media, so you can take Michael Johnson's side or you can take our side. It's your choice.
I take Michael Johnson's side. I think that all 3 athletes who made it to Tokyo should be interviewed. And
they were interviewed.
It has not been.
They were interviewed.
They were interviewed. Like I think they saw people complaining. I think I saw people complaining on Twitter, and then they started interviewing everyone. But they were not all interviewed.
They in the women's 400, the race that we're talking about here, they all were interviewed. I remember because the kids came out, Cornera Hayes and Allison Felix's kids came out. Yeah, and Waddlen walked in, and then Lewis Johnson talked to all of them. I just don't like Michael Johnson calling me lazy. He says problem is lazy media. Like, I got 3 kids. I'm working a full-time job, and you're the GOAT, Mike. Like, I'm not taking anything away from you, but don't call me lazy, man. That hurts, especially coming from an elite athlete. Like, I love the gold shoes growing up. Like, I never thought he'd call me lazy of all people. Maybe my parents or something, or a teacher. Listen, here's the thing. Allison Felix made her 5th Olympic team. You're going to get talked about if you've made 5 Olympic teams. People may not like
counterpoint.
Let me finish my first point before you counter my point. Okay. People may not like it, but this is a mainstream broadcast sent out to millions. People tune in now that have not tuned in for the last 4 years. they know who Allison Felix is. People have enjoyed following Allison Felix over all these Olympics. That's why they know her, is because she's been there. She's been a recurring character in this Olympic show that goes on. Add in the fact that she has this compelling life story. Insane things have happened to her over the last 2 years, and she's still back. That's why she is being talked about here, and she still managed to make teams. That's what's going on here. We shouldn't ignore other stories, but when you have a 90-second window to interview people, they're going to go to the person who's made 5 Olympic teams and had this amazingly, like, almost horrific thing happen to them. That's like the reality of television and sports.
Counterpoint, why did she get interviewed after the 200 when she finished 5th?
They interviewed. Okay, so I watched this. They interviewed everybody first, and then they interviewed her on top. She went into. I watched. She went
why
into
did
the
they? Why did they need to? Why do they need to interview her on top?
Where would you rather that time go? They interviewed the 3 people.
To Tamara Clark,
a
college athlete who went 21.
Because people know who Allison Felix is. It's the recurring.
I just
character,
think that, like
I mentioned,
and Allison Felix was beat by 2 college athletes. That is a huge story. I absolutely agree. No, I absolutely. It's been her last time about 3 times, but I absolutely agree that Allison Felix deserves.
It's been her last time.
I agree. Exactly. I agree that Allison Felix deserves recognition. I agree that her story deserves to get played time and time again. But college athletes in this new wave moving in, beating these vets, that's a huge story that they're missing out on. Like, I want to know Tamara Clark's story. I want to know Battle's story. I want to know their story because that's a big deal. Like, so I don't know. I just feel like it's been enough. It's been enough. It's a little bit of overkill now.
Well, now they have.
We're watching the U.S. Allison Felix trials, brought to you by NBC. That's what we've been watching. Brought
to you by NBC, sponsored by Allison Felix. Honorable mention, Allison Felix. Notable note, Allison Felix.
No, you got listen. Again,
Ooh.
we have a 30-second. They have a 30-second window to interview it. They're gonna think about how you guys consume sports that you're not following 24/7. You're following people like Allison Felix, and you want to see what happens with them. Like, if you're only tuning in at the biggest moments, you're tuning in. I mean, it's like at the Super Bowl. Well, why are they interviewing Patrick Mahomes? He was on the losing team. Why aren't you interviewing this defensive tackle from the Patriots?
Okay, let's use that example.
Stars in the sport. She is a star in the sport. There are stars. She is a star.
But okay, so what's the sport that I don't? I have not. Basketball has been going on lately, and the only person I have been seeing is Trae Young, and I feel like that's how it should be. Like, he's a rookie in this game.
Don't do that
and
to Gordon.
They've just been interviewing
you
Trae.
just threw the Hawks.
So sorry.
Last minute.
So sorry. I'm from Georgia. Of course, I'm gonna cheer for the Hawks.
Sixers slander at the end of the
off
pod.
subject.
Sixers slander at the end of the pod.
Interviewing Allison Felix.
We are not lazy.
Interviewing Allison Felix after getting 5th is like interviewing LeBron James. The NBA Finals.
No.
Because he got eliminated in the second round.
It's like interviewing Phil Mickelson or Tiger Woods when they get 18th. Because you want to hear what Phil Mickelson and Tiger Woods has to say. And yeah, you interview the winner. And yeah, you probably interview runner-up. But then there's people between those two and Phil Mickelson and Tiger Woods or Serena Williams or whoever that star is. Tennis, I guess, is a little different because they have individual matches. And you have one opportunity to interview in something like golf or something like track. You're going to want to hear from Tiger Woods. And you're going to want to hear from Allison Felix. And listen, I get it. I get it.
You got to admit, it's been a little overkill.
Now's their time. Now is their time. No. Here's my issue with the broadcast. If you want to get into this, my issue is it becomes an anecdote contest at the start line, and we overlook people who have had great seasons in lieu of people who did something in 2016 because they made an Olympic team and they want to call back to the Olympics, but they're not stars and they have this great anecdote and that gets mentioned over so-and-so who just won the NCAA championship. Because I think that's not informing the viewer at all about what's going to happen. That's making it seem like this person who was really good in 2016 and made the team has a chance now, and they don't. And I get why they're doing that because they're doing a call back to the Olympics before. but I think it's more time should be devoted to the people who actually had chances to advance and kind of inform the storyline. But Felix is rare. You guys are acting like there's going to be a Felix every day of this competition or every time we have an Olympic trials, and it's not. She's made 5 Olympic teams. She's got the compelling backstory. This is her first Olympic team.
Has.
So that's what's going now.
And
now they have the chance. Now everybody has the chance, right? She's retiring. This is it. Last Olympic trials. They have the chance to fill in, but to act like mainstream coverage isn't geared towards stars. That's the way it is in every sport. We just notice it because we follow track 24/7.
Allison Felix was made a star when she made the first Olympic team when she was 18 years old. She was made a star then. Why was she made a star? Because she was beating the vets. Now when we have these young people beating the vets, they're not getting TV time. So how are we going to make them stars until we stop giving the TV time to the vets? That's what I'm saying. I think that Allison Felix absolutely deserves to be recognized. Absolutely.
It's earned
but
over
time. It's been overkill.
It's earned over time.
Kevin, why didn't they interview Justin Gatlin after not making the team in the 100?
They did, didn't they?
He made the Olympics in 2004. He's been there for a long time. He's made multiple teams, but they didn't find a way to interview the top 3 in the 100 and then be like, oh, wait, we got to get the Justin Gatlin interview.
So you want to compare, so you want to compare Justin Gatlin's backstory to Allison Felix and think about which one's made for TV better? Come on, Gordon. Come on.
I just want to
say,
I said they should play her story, but in terms of the interview, I would like to hear from the people who placed above her. But it's okay because I will hear from them. I'm gonna reach out to Tamara Clark. I'm gonna reach out to Battles. I'm gonna reach out to all of them, and I'll get the interview. It's fine.
That's I get it. Like that's kind of the point, right? Now they've established themselves, and then now they have time to tell their story. But like you can't, and Gordon, I think you agree with me with this, like you can't just wait till you get to the trials and be like, hey, I'm here to tell my story. Like and Serena, you probably have seen this too. Like you got to be doing that. If you're a professional or you have aspirations to be a professional and get mainstream attention, that's something you have to be thinking about all the time in your career. It can't just be about running fast times.
I mean, I agree, but at the same time, Tara Davis was on plenty more things than Brittany Reese and Tiana Bartoletta going into trials. And like you said, well, we have to wait for them to do something big. But it's like she was on stuff beforehand, as she should be. So I just don't see why other athletes can't be too. Like, these are going to be the new generation athletes. Yeah. And featuring them on things is important right now at these moments because they're young now. Like, if we're trying to wait, I think that all the athletes that were predicted to do good should have gotten a story beforehand. If they didn't end up doing well, then just don't broadcast it. That's it.
I just also
that's it.
Well, then the broadcast 8 hours. I get it. Like, I agree with you, Strandy. It'd be awesome to have 9 hours of broadcast coverage where everyone has a feature. But if they have 30 seconds to fill or 45 seconds and it's Felix or fourth place, they're going to go with Felix. And listen, I mean, they're talking up Ariane Knight and plenty. Just like in 2016, they talked up Lyles and they talked up Norman, right? Those guys were the 2 stars on the come up because they ran that fast at the right time to do it. And then if Knighton makes a team, he's going to gain some traction. And then the next Olympic, and if he does it 4 more times, I guarantee you we're going to be having the similar conversations about Knighton if he goes on to have a career.
I just don't like the NBC is treating the Olympic trials like it's America's Got Talent with all these weird ass social media stories. I was like,
is this the first year you've watched the Olympics? Is this the first year? Have you watched any other sports in the Olympics ever, like swimming, gymnastics? It's a show.
Yeah, I normally watch it on mute, so that's probably why. Yeah.
Yeah,
I normally watch it on mute.
It's human interest story after human interest story. Like the trials is actually relatively good. Like if you don't like the coverage now, wait till you get to the actual Olympics when they got way more time to pull out the soft features and run like 5-minute bios on everybody. But it is what it is. That's how, because we consume other sports that way too. I'm saying we just don't notice it as much because it's not the sport that we live and breathe. Anyway, we went way too long. Serenity and Michael Johnson called me lazy. I don't like it.
I did not call you lazy.
I'm
If
gonna lose
calling
my-
you
I'm gonna
lazy,
lose
then
my
I'm lazy
house.
too. He
Lose-
called
Can I
me
do with
lazy.
this?
Called the media lazy, and Serenity's like, I take his side. No, you can take his side.
Okay, I actually
I-
kind of forgot about that one line. I was really just talking
Sure.
about the last line and how they should have talked about Waterland.
I want to end the pod with this. Gabby Thomas, in her post-race interview, was asked to speak about FloJo's 21:34 world record. She said, "I don't want to put a limit on myself, so I'm not going to say it's unattainable."
I like that.
There you go.
I like that.
Well,
There you go. All right.
like and subscribe, everybody.
I wish I could show y'all the picture Tara Davis just sent me.
Well, that's
She's going to the Olympics.
That's an interesting way to end the show. We will leave it there. Thank you to Serenity. Thank you to Gordon. Thank you to Ilan for producing. There's that music. Thank you to Travis, as always. Join us tomorrow right after the meet wraps for our final trials show. We'll run through all the finals for tomorrow. Look ahead to Team USA in Tokyo. We'll see you then.